What's up, guys? We are on episode 7, Behind the Golf Brand podcast. This week, we have our friends from Precision Pro Golf. They make probably the coolest rangefinder out there. I met these guys at the PGA show. They sent me one, and I was just literally blown away with the technology, as well as like they back up their product, which is really cool, which we'll talk about more later in the show. So today I have Seth and Trey from Precision, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
So, I mean, the first thing I always ask a brand is, what's your story, right? Like, I want to know the person behind that I'm talking to, because I feel like once you know their story a little bit, you have a better feeling of who they are, just the brand itself, and whether or not they're cool. I mean, that's what it comes down to, because if they're not, then I don't really want to work with them. I don't have time for drama. So, I know within the first 5 minutes. So, I guess that's the first question today. I'm going to let Trey start. Trey, tell me how you got into golf, and then about how you got onto Precision Pro, and then we'll ask the same question to Seth.
Yeah. So from a golf aspect, probably a similar story to a lot of people out there right now. Like played with my dad as a teenager, was kind of dragged out on the course, and then, didn't really enjoy it. And then graduated college, took my first job, and would play every once in a while with friends, but then started looking for a new job after that. Found Precision Pro Golf through a Cincinnati startup website, just getting more and more immersed in golf. And now I'm out there like 3-4 times a week, just can't get enough of it.
You got addicted now.
Exactly. My dad's pissed because he's like, you could have gotten a golf scholarship. You would have started when I tried to get you to start, and I wouldn't have had to pay for college. But
I think every dad says that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, Dad, I'm still not breaking 90. And I'm playing 4 times a week. I wouldn't have been on the tour.
And you're like, I'm doing better because you're not with me right now yelling at me. So
yeah. Yeah. But then, like I said, found my way into Precision Pro Golf, and it's just, we got a really cool atmosphere. We got really great people in our founders, Clay and Jonah, and then Seth running our marketing department, Alex running our operations department. And it's just such a cool vibe that it makes golf more fun for me personally.
That's cool. So Seth, you're the man behind the marketing. So tell me how you got into golf marketing and your background a little bit.
Yeah, it feels like a crazy story. I always liked playing golf, and where I grew up, I actually didn't have a whole lot of sort of buddies who also played golf. So it wasn't until I moved to Denver for a couple of years where I kind of found, for lack of a better term, a golf mentor, like someone who would always say yes if I ever wanted to go out and play golf, and would sort of make me feel comfortable not knowing what I was doing in a clubhouse and on the first tee, and just taught me sort of the etiquette about some of those things. And then I moved to Ohio and worked for a couple of marketing agencies. And then my wife all of a sudden said one night, he's like, "Do you know that there's a marketing position down the road for a golf company?" I was like, "There's a golf company in
say
Cincinnati,
what?
Ohio?" Yeah, what are you talking about? And then I just looked it up, did a little bit of research, applied that night, applied faster than ever before.
Super. You're all excited. This is cool.
And then within, a couple of days, I was talking to Clay and, talking to him. He's a great guy, great person. And, you realize you're talking to someone you want to work for, and you realize it's an organization that you want to be a part of. And I was lucky enough to take a job, and that was about 3 years ago. And I was employee number 2 or 3 at that point. So we were pretty small. We are now up to 11 full-time employees, and we have a lot of sales reps throughout the countries and partners throughout the world, really. And it's been a great ride, and it's been so wonderful. Mainly
growing with it, right?
We get to work with, and we get to grow it and sort of build it the way we want. And it's so much fun to sort of imagine something and say, again, the fun theory, if it sounds fun and we might like it, there's a pretty good chance that others out there in the golf world might like it too. So that's kind of been the story and how we've gotten here. And, our founders, Jonah Mitro and Clay Hood, they've hired the right team and sort of put a vision out there that it's fun to be a part of.
So what year did Precision Pro come out? V1, I guess.
I think the first rangefinder we came out with was in late 2014, maybe early 2015. So it's been over 5 years that Precision Pro has been in operation, and we've grown every year. We've been coming out with new rangefinders, refined our technology, really focused in on what we think provides value to the golfer, and it's been great.
What's the story on them coming with Precision Pro? Because wasn't they come up with the idea one day? Like him and I can't remember. I heard it. It was really cool though.
Yeah. So it was basically them at a bar. Like they were golfing buddies and they wanted to find a way to form a golf company. And, they had this idea at the time. Laser rangefinders were sort of even more expensive and exclusive than they are now. And they had sort of an idea of like, well, okay, there's not a $200 laser rangefinder on the market right now. Is this an idea that people would be interested in, that they could succeed with? And I don't think it's sarcastic to say they sort of wrote their business plan on a napkin at the bar and sort of
That's
went
so
forward
cool.
with it. Yeah, and started talking to retailers, started talking to people in the industry, and they got some positive feedback, and they were off to the races.
It's like I've had a lot of podcasts in the last couple of weeks, and it's crazy to hear how many of the latest brands that have started in the last 5 years are killing it. Are we're either starting a bar, a golf course, or really it's the only two, or a garage. That's the third one. And then how they like started off from there. And it's like somebody has an idea and they're like, oh, we should do this. And they say, oh yeah, we should do that. And they all become like, they're already friends. And they're like, oh, let's go ahead and do this. And then the next thing you know, it's like really happening. And then, so what was the first, what was the first rangefinder then? Was that I can't think of the name of it. What was the first rangefinder they came out with?
It was the V400 was the very first one. And that one was one that they found a manufacturer to work with, and they, that was the first one. It was a sub $200 rangefinder, and they saw success of it, but it was based, it was a lot based off of that price point at the time, because again,
affordable.
It was affordable, and there really, at that point in time, there really weren't other sub 200
not at all
rangefinder options, and most of the other ones were closer to 500 than to 300. At that point, though, they kind of over that year had to take a hard look and sort of say, like, if we're going to make this our company, or we're going to continue to do this, we have to come up with a better quality build and a better rangefinder. So they designed their own. They found another manufacturer to work with, and that's when they came out with the Nexus, which is still a rangefinder that we sell today. It's a high quality rangefinder. It lasts. We still have people who bought sort of that first batch, letting us know that it's still out on the course with them and holding up well. And then from that point, we basically we came out with the NX7 Pro Slope, which was our first slope rangefinder, and we have a slope and non-slope model of that. And then last year we came out with the NX9 HD, which had the slope and magnetic cart mount, which is a feature a lot of golfers enjoy, being able to sort of attach it to the golf cart. And we have big plans on the horizon for more. It's been fun to sort of do research, see what the needs of golfers, where they're going and what they're sort of asking for. We try not to sort of just put bells and whistles into a product because we can. We try and think through things intentionally. So we're excited for the future. That's kind of the brief overview from beginning to where we are now in terms of our product lineup.
So as you came out with new products and you started growing more, because I know it's like, I first saw you guys probably a year and a half ago on Instagram. I was like, oh, it's this is cool. And I know who your competitors are because I've talked to them. Well, I've worked with them mainly. But what I like about your product is, number one, the price point, right? Because it's affordable. It's not like you get all the technology that you would get in a higher priced rangefinder. All the technology's there. And it's like, I don't know, half the price roughly. And then on top of it, like you guys are like, what, don't you guys have like that warranty on the battery, or what is that thing on the battery?
Yeah. So we do free battery replacements for the lifetime of the product.
Yeah.
So
free battery replacements. Like the heck.
Yeah. on average saves people about 65, $70, over the lifetime of their rangefinder. And it's just like, so I think we as a company have agreed that like our purpose here is to help golfers be confident in their game and to do it at a price point that like, it's accessible to the average golfer. We've got a 120, we've got a 220. You can go anywhere in between there,
it's
whatever you're comfortable with. Right, a range of finders. And so like part of that is, it's not super easy to find the rangefinder battery. Yeah, you can go to CVS and stuff, but like we thought, what better customer experience and how better to keep people confident in their game than to know that they can get a free battery replacement at any time.
Well, no one does that, right? It's like
no, we're the
only
forget.
It's like, here's your $500 rangefinder. Go get your own battery when it dies. So
on top of that, we do 2-year warranty, like completely soup to nuts, take care of everybody. 90-day return policy. Like the golfer is more important to us than anything. Like, and that's just kind of where we're at.
It's because you are the golfer. Like exactly, you guys are the player. Right? Like that's kind of how I do my stuff too. It's like, I am that guy. So it's like, I'm looking for the best thing I can find for me, which you probably are a lot like me. So let's talk about it. That's what I think just blew me away. That was a real differentiator. One is that you had the technology that was, as good as, if not better than the more expensive models of other competitors. But then,
I mean, rangefinders pretty much all do the exact same thing.
Yeah. Right.
And, for the most part, do it relatively similarly in terms of overall quality. There are some that are, going to be essentially Chinese knockoffs that, are not, well made. So those excluded, sort of the names that you would recognize, they're doing the same thing. And we thought that we could differentiate ourselves, based on our customer service, and that, golfers just want to be treated well. They want to have to jump through hoops if they have questions about their rangefinder. And then the battery was just something that seemed like a no-brainer. Like, how fun and how helpful can we make ourselves to golfers who choose Precision Pro Golf to add to their golf bag? And we took that very seriously, and it's almost a way of us saying thank you for choosing Precision Pro Golf. And we're always excited when someone requests a new battery, because that means they're using our rangefinder a lot, and it kind of gives us a sense of joy that we're the product that they're using to hit more greens, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away like with the one you sent me. Like, I was like, holy crap, this is better than some other brand that I'm not going to name on the air.
No, we know who you're saying.
Here's the thing too. I'm going to be straight with you guys. Like, I worked with your competitor, and they were the biggest pain in the ass in the world. Like they were just weird. That's the best I can describe it. They were weird. And like, I ended that relationship because it wasn't fun. Like, to me, I was like, this is not, you guys aren't nice. It's like, I don't understand what the deal is. So, so, I mean, like, that's the one thing is like, when I support the brands that are cool, but it's the people behind it, right? It's the people that you're working with. It's because I think that trickles down into the brand itself. And then when you get, the opposite of that, then it's like, no, I don't want to do that. But I mean, for the level of customer service you guys provide is like unheard of, at least I know of, in pretty much anything. Like a 2-year warranty plus you get a free battery replacement. It's like, that's a no-brainer. And the price point, I mean, it's...
Yeah, and we do the best trade-in value of any rangefinder in the industry. So you get a 30% trade-in discount on future products. Which again is just like we want to, as soon as you choose Precision Pro once, we want to make that, choice. Yours. If we come out with a product that has new features, or, they are technology products. So in, 3 or 4 years, I'm going to get a new phone because my current phone is going to be scratched up and not running as fast. That's the sort of the case with just technology products in general. So whenever you want to upgrade, we wanted the choice to be simple and easy, and just say, oh, Precision Pro, 30% discount. Great. Yeah. We try to do everything that we can to just make it as simple as possible for golfers to interact with us, and then also, choose to purchase a new rangefinder with us when that time comes.
So was the last rangefinder just came out? That was the UHD. Is that right?
So the NX9 HD came out last year.
Yeah.
We launched the NX2 rangefinder a couple months ago. And then in the next couple months, we're launching the new line of 2020 NX9s. So there'll be a slope version and a non-slope version of that. Both will have the built-in magnet. Yeah. So that's coming
really
up
cool.
soon. Yeah.
I mean, with the COVID, I bet that really slowed stuff down. Right? I mean, it did everybody. So they'll be like, no, it didn't. It was great. Like, yeah, I know. Because like like supply chain was like nil.
Yeah. We're still facing challenges of that, but that's like you said, that's everyone.
I mean, it's delayed. It just delayed releases is all it really does. Right. I mean, I know it's crappy, but
it's that's been an ever-present challenge for us at this point in time. And the good news is the situation we've been in when this all started, think back to May 12th, you have no idea what the world is going to look like at all going forward. So those first few weeks were just like, what's going to happen?
I literally saw on one day, my traffic dropped 30%. That's when you knew stuff was happening, like really bad. Like this, like March, I was like, boom, it dropped. And I was like, oh crap. And it stayed like that for like 2 weeks and then went back up. But that's when I saw it was like mid to late March is when I saw the big like drop in traffic.
Right.
Yeah. And, we all started working from home. We put our, afternoon daily putting contests on hold and our golden tee tournaments on hold. And we all started working from home. And it was sort of the same, like that 2-week period. It just felt like everyone was holding their collective breath and just sort of waiting to see what, how the ground was going to shift. Kind of as March turned to April, we saw that people were out golfing and people started to go out and golf more and more and more. And since then, we've actually had trouble keeping up with demand.
Everyone's having that problem right now. It's kind of funny, and it's funny and good and cool, I think, because it's just like.
I mean, we work with a lot of people, obviously, in the golf industry, Palm. We know local retailers here in Cincinnati, so it has been really good to hear that golf is sort of has come back really strong this summer.
Yeah. So 100%. I think walking's come back too. Like walking.
Yeah.
Like I know that. I mean, shoe companies, cart companies. I mean, you guys are yours is different because you're going to use it regardless if you're driving or walking, right? But I mean, I know a lot of people are now. It's hard to keep up with sales because it's like it's hard, right? Because it's like people are playing golf like crazy which is awesome, I think, because it's a resurgence, and it shows you don't need to watch golf on TV to play golf. You know what I mean?
Right.
Totally.
Yeah, I think working from home has definitely been good for the game of golf because people are taking an hour out of their commute and they're filling that time by playing 9 holes in the morning or 9 holes in the afternoon, and they can take a business call in the car while they're on their way to the course. I know one course around here locally basically could not have had a better May than what they had. Their tee sheet was full the entire month.
Oh wow!
Right? So they literally could not have done more business.
That's awesome.
So it'll be interesting to see how working from home, if that stays.
I think it will.
Sort of a part of our culture to this degree. But if it does, I think it will be good for the game of golf.
But you guys want to go back to work because then you got the putting tournament and the golden tee tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. More so my fiance just wants me out of her hair.
Or vice versa. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I think it's a big
good one to go
shift.
back into.
Yeah, I think it's a big shift. I think you're going to see commercial real estate go down. That's what I think too, because you don't need buildings. You don't need, I mean, I'm starting to see that with my profession because my clients are landlords, commercial buildings are like, what do I do? I'm like, lots of options. I don't know.
Yeah. Crazy.
I mean, I can't believe it's already June. This whole year's been so jacked. So, I mean, it's like, I felt like there was a lot of momentum after the PGA show this year, right? Like a ton of momentum. I meant just me with a lot of my friends and my brands that I work with and stuff. And then it's like, you could feel it was almost like a volcano about to erupt, and then boom, it stopped. And you're like, and then now I feel like, I mean, my traffic is double where it was last year at this time, right? Double, which is a lot. So, I mean, what's cool is I feel golf is back, and I don't think you need to watch it on, or I don't feel like you don't need to like, oh, the tour event on. People just want to go play. That's all they want to do right now. They just want to go play, and it's easy, and you can self isolate, or you can play with other people. And I don't know. I think it's so. Then, what did you guys think of the PGA show this year? Because I saw your guys' booth. You had a good location at the end of that. You're at the end of that thing, kind of towards the putters, weren't you?
Yeah, we were near Bettinardi and a couple other people, but yeah, it was a good position. So that was my first PGA show. Number one, I was just blown away by the
oh my God, so
size
big,
of that place. It was crazy. I mean, there's like 10 football fields worth of space there.
Is that what it is?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It's like I thought I heard it was a mile by a mile. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. But but I mean, I thought it was awesome. It's less like stuffy than I kind of expected it to be. So
there's some stuffies there though.
There's definitely some stuffy.
I'm not gonna say what I saw, but it was pretty funny. I was like,
but I mean, we got introduced to Palm there and a little bit with True and like some of the other really
both
cool
those guys are my boys.
And so like we have a great relationship with Palm. Like we do some cross promotion and stuff, and just because they're cool guys, but like being able to walk around the PGA show and like see all this stuff and just oh my God, there's
realize
the Maverick driver and like all that kind of stuff. It's just so cool.
You realize how like you're just a tip of the iceberg, right? Whatever you do, and like the person who I went with, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna see that. You're gonna see like this is ginormous, this industry. You know what I mean? Like you're so stuck. Not I'm saying you guys, but like you get so stuck in what you do, and then you have no idea how big this thing really is. I walked a lot, dude. That was a lot. I wasted a lot of time walking back and forth.
I went and bought a new pair of shoes the first day I got down there because we walked into the
you want a new pair of shoes.
And I literally walked from like the street to our booth, and my feet are killing me. And I was like, "This is not going to work. I'm not going to get through the next 5 days of this convention in these shoes." So I literally took an Uber from the convention center to the mall next door and bought a pair of shoes.
That's so funny. You want to hear my shoe story? I did this for one of my episodes. I was telling Jason over at True Links for the story. So I walked in the True Linkswear booth, and Brandon at True Linkswear was like, "Yo, bro, take those shoes off." And I had a pair of True Knits on. They're super comfortable, right? And he's like, and he gives me a brand new.
I love those. Those are my favorite shoes.
Those are my favorite shoes of all time, like for reals.
Yeah, same.
Like
our owner too. Our owner bought like they just I think went out. Our own Clay bought like 3 pair.
Yeah, like they're redesigning them. They're not out forever. I know that, but but they're still my favorite shoe. I was actually texting Brandon this morning about other stuff, and I was like, "Yo, how many True Knits do you have left? Because I want a pair." but like, so he gives me their new Eco Knits, right? Which were like hadn't even come out yet. He gives me a bag. He goes, "Put these on," and I end up wearing those Eco Knits for their whole PGA show. They're brand new shoes, man. Like, and they're so comfortable. And those are the $99 shoes that they got, but I didn't care. I was like, "This is awesome."
I should have done that. I should have walked over just to.
You should have. You should have said, "Hey, I'm Seth. Hook me up."
I know. Sucker. I paid for them.
You know what's interesting about the PGA show is that like I feel there's 2 kind of things. You have the stuffies, let's call it the stuffies, and you have the cools, right? And the stuffies you could tell, and then the cool and the arrogant, right? And then you have the cool brands that are like, "Hey, we're just trying to figure this thing out," and they're like, those are the guys that I had fun with. Every one of them. I was like, I spent a lot of time in the True booth. I stopped by your guys. I missed Trey, unfortunately, because I was running around like a crazy person. I don't think there's enough time to see everybody that you want to see.
It's crazy busy. The days fly by. You're there for so long, but it's still, there's never enough to do. You always end up missing people or not getting to see things that you wanted to see.
And you feel like a jerk about it.
Time works differently in there. Yeah.
You're like, "Oh yeah, let's get together," and then you don't do it, and then it's so crappy. It said that you gone before. Or is that your first one?
No, that was my third. That was my third one, and I haven't been to enough yet where like I'm tired of them or anything like that. They still kind of like Trey. I walk in there, I'm just sort of have that sense of like sort of awe in how gigantic the facility is and how many brands. And I have a lot of fun, walking around and
I didn't want to leave
the brands that. Yeah, like I really enjoy it still, and just sort of talking with people and kind of doing what you're doing, exactly like going up to the brands that we admire and we want to work with, and just telling them who we are and having a conversation. We meet a ton of great people. Trey wasn't at our booth a whole lot, like you said, because he was doing exactly that, having so many conversations. And it's really paid off this year because it's been great to work with Drew and Palm and just a whole host of new brands that, like you said, are the cool brands.
Yeah, they're just cool. You want to support
brands.
them and you want to work with them.
Yeah,
like that's what it comes down to. Like, I mean, I walked up to some brands, and I'm not gonna name them, and they're not like big brands, but they're mid-size, call it, and they're popular, and they're jerks, dude. I was just like, I was like, what? And I mean, I lost a lot of respect for a lot of different brands. I will never support them ever. I don't care. I see their stuff. I'm like, nope, because they're just, I don't know. I actually like had dinner one night I got invited to like a pretty fancy dinner with like the who's who, right?
Serious? Yeah.
Very like, it was cool. And I was telling what the brands I had met, and then they're just like, yeah, that's how it works. So I don't know. I feel like the brands, I think by meeting the people that work at that brand, you really get a sense of who that brand is, right? Like that's, I just walked up to Palm. I already knew Palm because I was texting Dustin like before that, like on Instagram. And then like I was with you, Trey. And then like when I met them, we lived there for like an hour, just hanging out, talking, getting to know them. You're like, oh, you're cool guys,
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. And that's what I like about you guys, that you guys not only make a really cool product, but like you're good people behind it. So that's, I would call it a trifecta because there's only two things, but when do you think the new stuff's going to be coming out then? You think like late summer or early fall?
So August 1 is when the new NX9s should be shipping by.
Oh, that's cool.
So we're sort of in the last phase of sort of dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So we feel good about that. As you alluded to earlier, the supply chain and just manufacturing process has been a challenge unlike any other before that we've had, but we're feeling good about it. So, and we're excited. We feel like there's a large contingent of golfers out there who are excited about it too. We keep getting emails and messages and people asking, when's it coming out? And we're working hard.
When's it coming out?
Yeah,
that's cool though, because they want to support you. That's exactly what you want. You're like, because they'll be the first to buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the price point on that one?
Thankful for that.
On that rangefinder,
$269 for the slope version, $219 for the non-slope.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
And both have the magnetic cart mount.
Oh, they do.
On top of they both have the magnetic cart, pulse vibration, kind of target acquisition technology, kind of all the things that you've come to expect from us in terms of like providing a really quality product. But now, like a new design, a new better magnet, just kind of all around improved.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Yeah. Like what model did the previous model had the magnet? Had the magnet though, right?
So that was the NX9 HD.
Yeah.
We stopped selling that a couple months ago, just in preparation for this new product. We didn't want to have people, buying that when we were releasing a new one. It felt skeezy to us. So
yeah, it's like, I don't know. That's the other thing too. That's the other thing I'm tell you guys right now, not you guys, but the audience. Like the brands that really care about the golfer, they do stuff like that. Like I had a call with another brand, and they came out with their first version of their golf bag, and it sold out, and everybody wants it. And then they're redesigning it, and they just dropped some. They just said that like when the new version comes out, they're going to the original people that supported them. They can buy the new bag for cost plus shipping, and not have to send their old bag back in, just because they're like, you guys supported us. And like, I was like, holy crap, man. Like, I think it's the little things that matter. That shows you that they care about the consumer and not about like, I wouldn't call it the consumer, more about the golfer than they do about themselves. Right. And that's what it comes down to.
Well, it's like an integrity move, right? And like, I just, like I said, like our goal is to give every golfer the confidence to play well and to just know their distances.
Dude, it's so freaking accurate. It's not even funny.
I was just gonna say that's sort of the other side of the coin too, is like confidence in the product, absolutely. But then if you ever do have questions about it, or if there's a situation like that where you buy a product and it's gonna happen. Like someone's gonna buy one of our products in late July, and they're going to come out with a new product August 1st. And
you're gonna be pissed.
They're gonna have questions, and we're just gonna say like, yeah, sure, we'll help you out. Like, no worries. Just, we'll send you a prepaid shipping label. You can send that back. And before we even receive it, we're going to send you the new one. And we just, it's not sort
It's
of
the
any
little
sort of,
things.
and it's just sort of the simple thing, right? It's like how a customer would want to be treated. And
It's more about the right
that's
thing. That's the right thing to do, right?
Right.
yeah. And we just always try to do that. Like usually the right thing is pretty evident.
It's hard to argue the
us.
right
So we
thing.
don't have any sort of, 100-page rule book full of processes that would sort of keep us from doing the right thing and say like, well, we can't do that until, you register your product and
blah, blah, blah.
send it back into us and, pay for the shipping label yourself. Like we're not going to put customers through that rigmarole. We're just going to do the right thing.
I think that's what makes you guys so dangerous, because in a good way. No, I'm being serious. Speak to the other brands in your market, because they can't be flexible because they're huge, right? And so they can't pivot and they can't make exceptions, and they have a rule book. And I think like I saw this at the PGA show. I think some of the larger companies in different product areas get threatened by these smaller ones that can do these kinds of things.
Yeah. And we're definitely trying to, that's a good observation. And one example of that right now is something we just started last week is we're starting to do personalized engraving.
That's cool.
So if you want you can order a rangefinder, and then if you would like, you can put your name and phone number on it. We hear from customers all the time, like, hey, I lost my rangefinder. Is there anything you can do? They ask us if we can like track it down by serial number if anyone returns it to us. So
that's smart.
Sort of just ended up rolling out with personalized engraving. So, if you do forget it in the cart or leave it
or drop it off it somewhere, happens all the time.
Exactly. Whatever happens, you're taking it all over the course with you. So
most golfers are cool. Happens. You know what I mean? Like, cause I mean, I know some people still clubs or whatever, but that's pretty rare. You know what I mean? Like you just like, I found your club back on 4,
Right. Most of the time they're going to try and do the right thing. And this is just making it a little easier for them. So you can enter your name and phone number. And if you do, leave it on the card or on a green, you're more likely to get it back now. And it's a simple thing. And all it is it takes sort of time and effort on our part. Like it was a process to kind of figure out how. So
how are you guys doing that? You do it in house then, and like actually, is Trey doing it in the back with like with a wood engraver? He's all great. It's good.
Oh, I'm going hammer and chisel, man. No, we've got a really neat little 3D printer that also acts as like a laser engraver. So we originally got it to help model our new products and make sure it feels really good in your hand and it's just like all around great. But then we discovered that it had this kind of secondary use that we could put it to good work on. And so.
That's really cool. I mean, you could probably do a lot with that too.
It's been popular so far. Yeah. We haven't done any advertising around it at all. Just launched it this past Friday, and
everyone's gonna freaking do that.
I know. So
is it part of the checkout process?
It's just so right now we're only doing it with our NX7 Pro.
That's when I tested.
And we're going to roll it out with the rest of our rangefinders over time. This is sort of basically the test process. And we've said that, if the worst case scenario is we get so many orders that we have to, buy more equipment and train more people. And I can already kind of tell that that's going to happen. So
I can tell you right now it's going to happen. I already know it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
yeah.
What do you guys charge for that? Because it's probably not that much.
No, it's $10.
Yeah, $10. You need to hire trainees to be doing that full time.
So shout out to our lead designer Brad Young for number one, getting the full process together, figuring out how to like make the jig.
So cool. It's smart.
Yeah. Big ups to him.
You guys should do something too. You could probably even move into like more than just your name and your phone number, but like if you want to do like a logo on it, or if you wanted to like personalize it in some random way. I mean, charge more for that,
Yeah, we're thinking about all those things.
And for now, like you don't even have to do your name and phone number if you want to put like Like I did one for myself. My favorite quote of all time when I'm thinking about golfing is harness energy, block bad, just Happy Gilmore and that kind of stuff. So
Get
mine
in the
literally just
hole.
says harness energy, block bad. And that's my swing thought. So
That's fun. That's awesome. I mean, it's the little things, right? Like the 2-year warranty,
Yeah.
the free battery replacement. You can personalize your thing for $10. I mean, it's like you guys probably are not making any money on that $10. It's probably like the time and investment. It's more like this is. I mean, this is just more like, hey, we felt like this would be a good way to make sure you can protect your investment a little bit better in case you lose it. Dude, my dad loses everything like every day. Like every time we go golfing, it's like, oh, I lost whatever. You know, it's like what? Actually, I left my putter. I left my putter. Like last week, I played and I left my. I have a whole bunch of putters. I was using a Scotty Cameron, and I freaking left it on the green, dumbass. And I like, the next one, I was like, oh my God, where's my putter? And then like, but so the guy was like, oh, here it is, you know? So I think like, I don't know. I think it's all those little things that really matter, you know?
Right.
It does, I feel like.
Yeah. And I know I've said this word like a million times at this point, but we just want people to be confident. And so if you do leave it, we want you to be confident that it's got your name, your number, and it's going to get back to you probably, unless, the wrong person picks it up but that,
assumes your identity.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, it's easier to like identify because like I was like, oh no, that's my NX7 Pro. Oh really? Because it has my name on it, bro.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you're already probably reducing by a significant percentage the likelihood of someone taking it.
Right.
I mean, we definitely think that most golfers, are good and
of course.
Again, are going to try. Trey and I played the other day, and Trey Brad and our designer, I definitely lost. We weren't really keeping score, but if we would have been, I definitely lost. But so one of us picked up someone else's head cover that they had dropped, and we were going to turn it in when we were done, and then apparently one of us dropped it too, and then the guy behind us like caught up with us and said like,
oh my
hey,
gosh,
is this your head cover? So it's just like everyone was trying to do the right thing, and we think that this is just a really simple solution that could save someone $200, 200.
Oh, I think it's going to save. I think it's going to have like a 90% chance of someone getting their thing back. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, it's going to be such a
yeah.
I mean, that's so
and I will
cool.
throw in. Yeah, I'll throw in that like if you do lose your rangefinder, shoot an email to help@precisionprogolf.com, and our amazing support staff will take care of you and like help you get a new one. So just if anybody out there is listening to that, just know that we've got your back too on that.
Yeah, regardless if you did or did not have a name on it, you guys will still take care of them in some capacity.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation.
We'll do we always do everything we can to make it right.
It's easier to do the right thing than it is to do the wrong thing, right? That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Right. It might be easy to do the wrong thing for now, but like, it's going to bite you in the ass eventually. So you might as well act with integrity and try to treat your customers the way you would want to be treated.
So are there any questions today that I have not asked you that you're like, man, you should have asked us about that? Or is there something that you want to talk about that like, I know we talked about the new drop that's coming out in a month and a half. Right? Is it August 1st or July 1st?
Yeah.
August 1st. Yeah.
August 1st. Yeah. August 1st. I mean, there's at least a half dozen things that I kind of feel like I wish we could talk about, but it's probably a little too soon for us to get into details on. So I'm just going to
we'll say that for another episode.
Tease that. Exactly. And say like maybe back, later this fall.
That'd be cool.
We can come back on and by that point, we'll have a couple more exciting sort of topics to discuss.
Yeah. And listeners out there, definitely tune into our Instagram. We'll be making announcements there. You can sign up for our newsletter on our website where we'll be kind of communicating everything that's happening. And, we got a lot in the works and we're really, really excited about it. So
what's cool too is you guys have a lot of relationships now with a lot of, influencers. Like I know you do a lot of stuff with Eric and then, I mean, that's awesome.
And that's all Seth. Like he's done such an amazing job of like coordinating with these big.
Seth's the man.
Seth is
like
the man.
I know I was like,
we've got partnerships with Eric now and other cool people that are just helping getting the message out there and like really allowing us
and
to
other brands too, like other cool brand. That's a big deal. Like your deal with what you're doing with Palm and stuff like that. Like that's cool.
Yeah, totally.
Like. It's about the relationship. That's why I always tell people my whole thing is all about the relationship. So I mean, that's all it is, if that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could say that there's some sort of like grandmaster plan or anything like that to sort of to some of this, but I mean, we just feel lucky because we're golfers and we're
We're all
golf
same
fans,
age and
and
like,
we
yeah.
watch. So it's like Eric Anders Lang. I was a fan of what he was doing, and then it was just sort of like, I wonder if that could work. And then turns out you meet him at the PGA show in 2018, I guess, maybe 2019. I can't remember now. And he's a great guy, and he's been wonderful to work with. Him and Evan Roosevelt on his team, and
Evan's
it,
cool.
we've been able to identify people we want to work with, and just sort of think like we admire this, person, we admire this brand, and then we just have a conversation about it. And again, most golfers are really cool people that you would want to talk to, and we have enjoyed the conversation today. So
No,
thanks for
thank
having
you for
us
being on today. I really appreciate it. I know
Absolutely.
Trey and I have been like texting back and forth about it for like a couple of weeks now. So I appreciate you, Seth, coming on. I know you're busy, man, because you're the man. Trey. So, well, thanks again for being on the show. And be sure to check out Precision Pro. They make probably, if not one of the best rangefinders out there. As you can see, they're very innovative. They take care of their people. Like their customer service is like beyond any customer service that I've ever seen. They really got the golfers back. So be sure to check them out. And thanks again for being on the show.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, really appreciate it.
All right, cool guys. Thanks so much.